Hello friends, Sarah here from the Centre for Mental Health. I hope everybody's well this week. Before I go into the film, I do want to say a quick thank you to those people who are watching the films every week and getting in contact with us about things they'd like us to talk about in the coming weeks. We really appreciate it, and we'll continue to respond and engage with you. Do let us know what you want us to talk about. Very happy to do that. This week we are going to talk about suicide, very much inspired by the Horizon documentary that was aired on BBC One this week. It was a really difficult watch, and I'm sure that any of you that did will agree. Before we talk about suicide anymore, I do want to remind everybody watching that self-care is really important. If this film is going to make you anxious or worried, you don't have to watch, it's fine. If you do need to talk to somebody now, the Samaritans are there. Do give them a call. They really want to help. Okay. If you're still watching the film and are wanting to know a bit more about male suicide, then I think it's really important that we kind of lay down some information first. And that is around 6,000 people a year take their own lives. About 4,500 of those are male. About 75% of the people who take their own lives have not been in touch with mental health services the year before their death. That's a lot of people, right? Suicide kills more people in the UK than road traffic accidents. When I first heard that statistic, I was completely blown away by it, and I'm sure you are too. I'm somebody who supports the Zero Suicide campaign. I believe that just one person taking their own life is one person too many. And I know that suicide is devastating for friends and for family. And the effects of a suicide bereavement last for generations. But I also know when somebody takes their own life, they truly believe that their family and their friends would be better off without them. Now, whilst we know that's not true, the individuals absolutely believe it to be so. It's a devastating place to be. And 1 in 5 of us will at some point have feelings of suicidal ideation, will want to take their own lives. Those fleeting moments. And for some people, they take it that step further. It's frightening. We have seen a 10% decrease in the last 4 years in male suicide. It's not fast enough. I don't think it's fast enough, and you shouldn't either. But I think the reason why we've started to see a shift is because we are changing the way we talk about suicide across the country. Very much thanks to some of the very high profile stories that have been in the public eye. Thanks to Johnny Benjamin and Neil Leyburn, we are talking about suicide in ways that we perhaps weren't before. The Stranger on the Bridge story really marked a kind of moment in time. The Stranger on the Bridge is a story about how Neil was able to kind of draw Johnny from Waterloo Bridge. He was about to take his own life. Johnny and Neil now travel the world talking to people about their story, but also what can make a difference. The evidence says that talking about suicide absolutely helps. It is a myth that talking about suicide provokes somebody into taking or thinking about suicidal behaviour. It's just not true. What talking about suicide does is it gives people a space to talk about how they're feeling. It takes the danger out of the situation. It also allows people around that person to put in support to do things that could make a difference. To have conversations about how much that person is loved and cared for. There are extraordinary campaigns around the UK. I was very privileged to be involved in the Stop Suicide campaign in Cambridge and Peterborough. And I know the Mind Ed Trust and If You Care Share in the north of England are all doing extraordinary work. Often these campaigns are founded by those people who've been affected by suicide, who've lost a loved one. who've devoted their lives to making a change. The conversation is the thing that makes the difference. Making sure that people don't have access to means makes the difference. It's really important to know what the signs are. So, often we don't know what to look for, but actually we do. We often know when somebody is not feeling well, or we often know if somebody is at risk of behaviour that perhaps could be life-changing. What we don't know often is what to do, what to say. But actually, my belief is just telling somebody that they are important, that they're valued, that suicide will not resolve any of the problems for the people that they love or for them, that there is help out there. I know people who felt suicidal and who've come back from the edge. It is within our gift as a society, as mothers, sisters, wives, to have conversations with the men that we're involved with, to be able to kind of help them access help when they need it. I guess the only thing that I can say is check out the websites that we've listed. Look at the information. Don't be afraid to ask somebody if they're considering taking their own life. Don't be afraid to take action. You have it in your gift to make a difference. We all do. See you next week.